It was supposed to be a simple line of duty, the country's top cop guarding the independence of his office. But yesterday, Fannie Masemola's testimony at the Madlanga Commission unfolded like a courtroom thriller, exposing the cracks in South Africa's fragile policing system. Sitting in the witness chair, the National Police Commissioner did not mince his words. A Minister of State had given him what he considered an unlawful order to immediately disband the Political Killings Task Team, the very unit built to chase down the shadowy hitmen terrorizing KwaZulu-Natal politics.
If you were to find yourself in such a situation, would you disobey the minister? If the minister were to give you an instruction that strays onto operational or managerial matters, would you, General Masemola, say to the minister, I am not going to obey that?
Yeah, it depends, Commissioner, but yes, I will. It's a matter that is career limiting, but...
It depends on what?
It depends on how he does it.
It's simple. It's
yes.
Simple. You have said operational and managerial matters are within your remit and not the minister's.
Yes.
So I am saying categorically to you that in what I posit to you, the instruction would be falling outside of the minister's remit and be straying onto operational and managerial matters. It's that clear.
Yeah, no.
Would you, General Masemola, tell the minister, I am not going to obey that?
Yeah, no, I will tell him that I won't do it. But as I said, it depends. So he must explain why he's doing certain things.
So if he explains himself, would you then obey, even if the instruction still strayed beyond the minister's powers and strayed onto your powers and functions?
Yeah,
I want to understand that depends. So if the minister explained him or herself satisfactorily to you, would you then say, Minister, even though you are encroaching onto my area of function, I will obey you. You are acting unlawfully. You are not acting in accordance with Section 207(2) of the Constitution, but because you have explained satisfactorily to me, I'm going to obey you. Would you say that?
Well, if he explains and I find the reasons acceptable, then I will. But if I find them not acceptable, then I will not comply with that instruction.
Masemola described receiving the directive while he was on leave, a WhatsApp message carrying an instruction so urgent that the minister wrote it should be carried out, not even tomorrow. He told the commission that to obey would have meant shutting down active court cases, deserting witnesses under protection, and leaving families of slain politicians with no hope of justice. What makes his account extraordinary is not only the defiance against political interference, but the murky atmosphere surrounding it. A whistleblower had told him that a businessman with a checkered past, Vusimuzi Matlala, was allegedly acting like a shadow deputy, calling the shots through senior police leadership. Masemola admitted he was warned that his own deputy, General Shadrach Sibia, was working closely with this outsider, and that the integrity of police operations was being quietly eroded. He carried his concerns all the way to President Cyril Ramaphosa, sitting across from him in February, to plead that the minister's instruction was not just overreach, but a constitutional trespass. The president listened, he said, and promised to speak to the minister. But Masemola never heard what came of that conversation. Even as he declared he would never obey an unlawful command, Masemola admitted he asked his staff to draft a progress report on disbanding the task team. The contradiction left commissioners baffled, pressing him on why a man so convinced of his mandate would still prepare paperwork for an order he believed illegitimate. His defense was pragmatic. Better to buy time, to phase out quietly, than to destroy the scaffolding of dozens of cases overnight. Yet the tension in the room was clear. Was this prudence or a compromise too far?
You say the minister was encroaching onto your area of function. Now, just tell me how, especially in the face of what you said at the beginning, which is that you would not obey an unlawful instruction from the minister. Now, you say in so many words that this was unlawful. Unlawful, why? Because it strayed onto your area of function. So why do you now suddenly talk the language of winding down in a phased manner, and no new dockets are to be given to the PKTT? Effectively, you are relenting to an unlawful instruction. And you have told us at the beginning, you will never do that. You will disobey an unlawful instruction. Can you please explain yourself?
Okay, no, I agree, Commissioner. I do understand what the Commissioner is saying. That yes, I said I will not agree to it. But what I'm saying is that if you were sitting in my position where I was, and this minister is insistent, without the hindsight of knowing later, because the Commissioner now is advantage in that you have got the before I know the December operation of the 6, how it impacted on the disestablishment. And also me say, no, I'm not going to comply with this instruction, which I did to an extent, made sure the team is not disestablished immediately, that I was successful. And eventually, without any other help, and with this minister here in front of me, insisting, I had to end up saying, well, if we do it your way, I don't accept, but let's rather do it my way. Probably as we go along, I might find motive, and kept on saying, but Minister, why are you disestablishing this team? I kept asking that question all the time. I did acknowledge, Commissioner, that yes, initially I refused not to comply with his instruction. But after having no any other way, and life goes on, this man is here in front of me, he wants the team disestablished. There is no any other help. So what do I do? The only way that I did was, no, if you do that, you do it my way, not your way.
For many South Africans watching, the story is bigger than one man's balancing act. It cuts to the heart of trust in the state. Can the police be left to do their work without politicians meddling? Can justice for the dead be insulated from factional wars of the living? Masemola's testimony painted a portrait of an institution under siege, where whispers of corruption and political interference reach right into the commissioner's office, where a minister can order the death of a unit with a single letter, and where the president himself may not deliver the clarity the country yearns for. The political killings task team may have been designed to solve murders, but yesterday the Commission heard that its fate could determine whether South Africa still has a police service truly independent of politics.
And that's a wrap of National Police Commissioner Fannie Masemola's testimony for today. He wrapped up at the Bridget Mabandla Justice College in Pretoria, obviously on his first day testifying at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. He's expected to continue at least into the first half of tomorrow, for most part of the morning, before he wraps up and concludes his testimony in full. Now, much of what we heard from him today, he had echoed that of his provincial commissioner in KwaZulu-Natal, Lieutenant General Matlala Mkhunazi, explaining that the decision to disband this political killings task team was unlawful by the Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, outlining that Senzo Mchunu, as the Police Minister, is in charge of policy and legislation when it comes to things that he can suggest, but he can't actually get involved in operational matters. So the establishment of a task team or the disbandment of a task team is not within his scope, and therefore it could be deemed unlawful for him to have issued that instruction on December 31st. I think a lot of his testimony was contradictory. And the Commission Chair, Justice Madlanga, touched on that and tried to push him and probe him to expand on some of his testimony today, because he was contradicting himself, saying that while he deemed it unlawful and that he wouldn't comply with an unlawful instruction, such as that to disband the political Killing Stars team, he ended up complying with an instruction by Police Minister Senzo Mchunu to provide a progress report into the disbandment of this task team. So Mchunu issues out the instruction. Masemola deems it unlawful as it doesn't fall within his scope, but he still ends up complying by providing him with a progress report as to where they are in disbanding this task team.
Please let us know what do you think of this story in the comment section. If you made it this far, I assume you enjoyed the video. Please like the video and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thank you for watching.